What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to share with you a little bit of a guidance video for those of you out there who can already balance the handstand. Congratulations, well done. It's a big achievement just to balance the handstand, but maybe you're thinking, what is next? What can we go next? Where can I go with the handstand? This video is designed to help you out and give you some guidance as to where to look next. I'm going to provide a whole bunch of links in the description down below to various videos and resources, so I highly recommend you check them out. But otherwise, let's jump straight into the video. So congratulations, you can hold a handstand for 15-20 seconds. Now is the time to start moving on to bigger and better things. If you haven't got the handstand already, I will link my handstand tutorial in the description down below. And also there will be my app Tribe, in which there is, I think now 8 handstand routines in there, from absolute beginner to the beginnings of where this video kind of takes off. So if you are interested, I'll link that in the description down below, and hopefully that can help you out. I want to give you 6 things that I think are worth working on, and I'm going to split them into 2 different sections. Number 1 is skills, number 2 is strength. Let's start off with the skills aspect of things. The skills aspect of things is really going to focus around shapes. Now, when I'm talking about shapes, this refers to the shape that our body makes when we're in the handstand position. This is usually going to be determined by the legs. When we learn the standard handstand, we learn the handstand in a straight position. This gives us a certain amount of awareness of our body within space, within a handstand. So now currently you can imagine the awareness as one small circle. This is where we are aware of our body in space, with our wrists and our shoulders and our hips and our feet all aligned in one nice line. As soon as we stray a little bit outside of that, we then start to lose our awareness and lose our control. This is where shapes come into play. Shapes teach us to separate the upper and lower body in handstands. While the upper body stays stationary, the legs move around outside of that center of mass, that center line, and it can basically be seen as expanding that circle of awareness of balance and making it bigger and bigger and bigger, and just generally improving our awareness upside down. So for this reason, it's a fantastic next step to build a really solid handstand, regardless of your position. The first position that I would recommend and skill is going to be the straddle handstand. This one not only is a cool looking position, but it's also for many people a little bit easier to balance. The reason for that is, in straight position, this is actually going to be the highest shape, therefore our center of gravity is going to be the highest, and it's also going to be the hardest to control because there's more of us to control against. When we go into straddle, we're going to lower that center of gravity, and we're also going to distribute it with the legs being straddled. This is going to make it easier to balance, but it is a new stimulus, so it's going to challenge us. The next position I want to introduce to you is the stag position. The reason I wanted to introduce the stag position is we already have a little bit of understanding of our movement of our legs in that lateral plane, that side to side, doing, for example, the straddle. To build some more awareness, it would be useful to understand how our legs move in just the standard forward and backwards plane. So again, expand that circle of awareness when it comes to balancing the handstand. So whilst the straddle is actually a relatively easy shape to balance, the stag is significantly harder because it's going to affect the 2 main ways in which we can fall in the handstand on 2 arms, and that is forwards or backwards. When we do a straddle, there's not much movement forwards or backwards, it's just sideways. That means we have less to think about when it comes to correcting. When we do the stag position, because both our limbs are moving in opposite directions and in the planes that we can fall onto, there's a little bit more care that needs to be taken to finding and creating that center of balance and maintaining it while the legs move. As with all these shapes, the most important thing is we keep those shoulders in the same place. There isn't just straight and then stag, there's all of the positions in between. So rather than rushing and trying to get into that position straight away, take your time, gradually do it, and pause to find your balance as you need to during that descent. The final shape is probably the most important shape, and that is the tuck. Now, the tuck is something that arguably you should be working on from the beginning, and if you aren't already, I highly recommend you start doing it. It's the reason I made an entire tutorial on the tuck handstands, because it's so valuable when it comes to building strength and stability in the shoulders for the handstand. The tuck handstand is essentially the handstand times 2 when it comes to strength requirements. As we tuck down, we're going to bring those legs outside of that center line. This is going to increase the strain on our shoulders just to keep that straight position, so it's just going to feel a little bit heavier, and it's going to force us to keep those shoulders open and solid throughout. If you're struggling with getting a straighter line in your handstand, or if you're struggling with the strength in the handstand or the pressed handstand, the tuck is really the answer to both of those issues, and I highly recommend you start working on it. The best way to start working on all of these shapes, the straddle, the stag, the tuck, is to start on the wall, just as you would when you started balancing the handstand. Use the wall, use it to get as much time as possible balancing those positions. And then from there, once you have some awareness on the wall, you can then take it to the floor and just be prepared to have lots and lots of fails. Hopefully there'll be some holds in there, and that is basically part of handstands. So we've now got the skill, the shape aspect side of things down. We've built some more awareness when it comes to balance. Where do we go next when it comes to strength? This is where the tuck handstand kind of bridges the gap, because it is such an invaluable tool when it comes to strengthening the shoulders. As I said, it is kind of like the handstand itself normally, but ×2 when it comes to the shoulders. It's going to build strength in them for a whole host of reasons. So I kind of want to put it twice in this video, once in the shapes, once in the strength, just because it is that important. And if you're not doing it, you need to be doing it. The next skill is kind of building on from this, and that is the press to handstand. Now I would say before starting on the press to handstand, you at least want to be able to balance the handstand. It's kind of important. Press is a really cool way to not only get into your handstand, but also to build strength in that shoulder flexion position, that straight arm strength overhead. Just like the tuck handstand, it's going to increase the stress on the shoulders, on the traps. It's going to again feel like the handstand maybe ×2, ×4, ×5, depending on how flexible you are. Now with the press handstand, I have a pretty in-depth video, although it is old, it still is pretty relevant, and I'll link that one down below, as well as all the various tips and tricks videos that I've made over the years to accompany that. They'll all be linked in the description down below. You're best off with this one starting to learn straddle. It actually links in very nicely with the straddle handstand itself. If you go down into your straddle handstand and then you don't stop there and you keep on going, you essentially do a straddle press negative. They do complement each other very well. The next skill is the handstand push up. Now the handstand push up is more of a pure brute force strength skill, but when it comes to the balance side of things, there is a huge skill element. Now, if this is your goal, it's worth spending lots of time again on the wall, building up time and accumulating volume and just getting stronger. Being able to do a few reps on the wall will make your life a lot easier when it comes to freestanding. And if you want all the progressions for that, I'll link to my handstand push-up tutorial in the description down below, so you know exactly where to get started with. The freestanding handstand push-up, however, is mostly about understanding the pattern than it is about just brute forcing your way through it. The reason for this is because when we do a handstand push-up against the wall, we work very much just in an up and down plane of motion. When we come to do it in a freestanding position, it actually turns into more of a diagonal pushing pattern, because our body angle shifts as we go down to counterbalance the movement of the shoulders forward. This will be more extreme if you're taller, such as myself, and less extreme if you're shorter. The key really to the handstand push-up is shifting those shoulders forward as you go down into the bottom and keeping them forward as you push back up. Most people here will fall back onto their feet when it comes to the handstand push-up simply because they try to push those shoulders back too early and they don't stay forward on it. So doing things like slow negatives is going to be one of the best ways to build this up. As I said, the full tutorial and explanation on how to do things is going to be linked in the description down below. But that is basically it. That is where to go next. Once you have that 15-20 second solid handstand, this is where I think you should go next. Obviously working on your line, working on the basics is always going to be part of your handstand training. To take things to the next level, this is where I think you should start. If you did find this video useful, then please hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. You can also leave a comment in the comment section down below if you have any questions about today's video, or if you just want to give me some feedback and share your thoughts on what would also be useful for the handstand. This is by no means an exhaustive list. There is plenty of other options, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Whilst you're down there, you can also hit that subscribe button if you want to join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe, as we encroach on 300,000 subscribers. Absolutely crazy. But that has been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.